If you've got symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and your doctor can't figure out what's wrong with you, check this out. This is a report from the CDC in the US about a syndrome called the alpha-gal syndrome. And what this is telling us is that this is probably a lot more common than we thought it was, and unfortunately something that's becoming even more common. So alpha-gal is a type of sugar. The gal stands for galactose, and it's a sugar that's found in many red meats like beef and pork, and it's also found in some dairy products. Unfortunately, that sugar is also found in the saliva of certain ticks. In particular, the Lone Star tick, which is not only found in Texas, but in many parts of the US. And if you get bitten by one of those ticks, because you're exposed to that alpha-gal in the tick saliva, your body forms an immune reaction to it. Your body's trying to protect you from that tick, so it forms antibodies to that alpha-gal. Unfortunately, the next time you consume one of those meats, and that alpha-gal is then slowly absorbed into your body, you have antibodies to it now, so your body will react to it. So this is an acquired allergy. You may never have had a reaction to those meats before, but once you get bitten by that tick, you will now start reacting to these meats. And the reaction can vary. It can be all the way from anaphylaxis, a life-threatening reaction where you have swelling of your lips and your mouth and closing up of your throat, to something much more subtle like abdominal pain or nausea or vomiting. And the tricky thing is that it can happen up to 6 hours after consuming the meat, because it obviously takes some time for that alpha-gal to get into your system after you eat something. So in many cases, people will not associate it with having eaten that meat, and it can be even more confusing because they've always consumed that meat without having any type of side effects or reaction. And one of the problems here is that, like with other tick-borne illnesses, with climate change, we're seeing ticks moving up to new parts of the world and affecting more and more people, but the awareness of these tick-borne illnesses among people and even among physicians isn't that great. And so this is something that is often being missed. So if you have symptoms like unexplained abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and you eat red meat or meat products, and particularly if you've been bitten by a tick, or even if you've been in an area where you might have been bitten and not realized it, ask your doctor if you should be tested for alpha-gal syndrome.